All right, everybody, we're here with James VanBrederode, former New York Senate candidate and former Gates Police Department chief. Joins us tonight to talk about voter participation and the urgency to get out to vote. I've known Chief, I still call him Chief, and that's always going to be that way. That's how I met him. But he's really a great guy. He really out for the community and always looks out for the best interest of everybody, really. So, Chief, if you want to let us know what your thoughts are about getting out to vote.
Yeah, well, anyway, welcome all the Facebookers that are out there tonight for watching this. Last year I spent the whole year pretty much running for the New York State Senate. I was all over the place. I went everywhere, did everything. Two early polls were done, had me ahead. And then election night came. There was a glitch in the downloading, and then I ended up losing. So you just don't know how this is all going to work out. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if the election system is honest or not, to be honest with you. It was just kind of a coincidence on election night of all nights. The one day a year that machine's supposed to work, it didn't work. And boy, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Me, LaRon, and everyone else, Marcus C. Williams, everyone that ran, it was just like, what in the world just happened? I would have accepted it a lot better. I think if the polls had shown me losing the whole time, no problem. I lost, but it was such a. I just don't know what to believe anymore. Whether or not these elections are even legit. But what I want to talk about is so literally like a month after the general election, your fire district election is in December, and so over here in the town of Gates, we went from a volunteer fire department to a paid fire department about 10 years ago. And, it has a board of directors that runs the whole place. They set the taxation for the fire district. Few people even know how that works. And over here in Gates, the fire department is up to like 85, 86 guys. And really nobody watches, right? All the commissioners are fellow firefighters, and their pay scale has gotten really big. So we had a very contentious election in December, and we had two great candidates that we wanted on the board so we can kind of monitor and keep track of what they're doing, because they wanted to increase the fire department by another 10 firefighters, $1 million. It's just crazy stuff. Anyway, the point of the story is, there's an election in December for your fire districts. It's one of those ones that nobody thinks about, nobody cares about until they get their bill in January, and you're like, gee, why is my fire tax more than my town tax? But anyway, that election, about 700 people, and that was a good year because we had a lot of publicity, and again, it was very contentious. So we actually had like 700 people show up, but our one candidate got over the goal line, no problem. The other candidate lost by one vote, one vote. And since the election, a lot of my friends came up to me and said, sorry I didn't get out to vote. Something came up that night. And I literally had like 4 or 5 friends tell me that they didn't get out to vote, And then when I tell them, our guy lost by one vote, had people just shown up and just do what you got. I'm telling you, these elections, they're no longer blowaways. These elections are very tight and very close. And that fire district election, it just sets us back 2 more years now because, it's too bad. And we were short by one lousy vote. And then I have all these friends that tell me, I didn't get out that night. I was tired, I went home, And so I can't emphasize enough how important it is that, man, politics is at war right now. Even at the fire district level, it got so ugly. It is like a war. This team versus that team. The days of moderation, the days of let's all work together, let's compromise, negotiate. That whole word, negotiations and compromises, all that is gone at the federal level, the state level, your local level. Everything's become do or die, And so that makes it even more important for us as residents. We have got to get involved in these elections, and more importantly, the next important one that's coming up is on May 16th. All of our school districts will have an election. And that one day, you will vote on your budget for your school, as well as any positions that are open on your school board. And I'll just show you how ugly the stuff gets, right? So the town of Gates, Rob Long, who at the time, 2 or 3 years ago, he was a lieutenant, but he has a young child that's in Gage High School. He ran, and the teachers union endorsed him. Always law enforcement. He got elected. He's up for re-election this year on May 16th. And the teachers union came out with their endorsements, and Rob isn't one of them. They know law enforcement now. In the meantime, they now have an SRO. It's almost like they used them. They got what they wanted from him, and then off to somebody else. But these school boards, you got to pay attention to what's going on. We've had a lot of grassroots parents groups and citizen groups bringing attention some of the books that are in these libraries, the diversity and equity and inclusion stuff that's going on, as well as the critical race theory and what's being taught in class and what's not. And this is, again, this, and look at who even goes, how many of you even voted in the school district, election? Probably a lot of us didn't or haven't, And again, that's another one. It could be 100 people that show up, or it could be 800. But man, when you got voter turnout that's that low, literally your vote is so much more powerful, because there's probably only going to be 600 or 700, 800 people that come out. That vote is very important. And every school district mails out. Here's mine from Gage Child Life.
You're breaking up a lot.
Every district mails out a letter. Every district mails out a newsletter, and take a look at that newsletter. In there should be a profile of all your school board candidates and what they stand for, and who's what and running for office. So that election on May 16th, again, if you're not happy with your school district, or you think there's some shenanigans going on, or you got to get out on May 16th and vote for our school people. And then after May 16th, we have a primary election. A primary meaning there's two people from the same party trying to vie for that seat, and that's on June 27th. And this year, again, because politics have gotten so gross and so obnoxious, we actually have a primary here in the town of Gates, a Republican primary, which is really unheard of. But right now, the Republican Party has a huge lack of leadership. It's so divided right now that we actually have primaries, not only here, but over in Penfield. Len Morrell, remember Len? He was on your show. He ran for state senate last year. He got the vote of the committee. Len's our man. And then a week later, somebody else says, no, I want the job. And there's a primary with Len. And in Gates, we have a primary. This is all for the one in Gates, the county legislator position. But again, we had a little mini convention. And everyone got to speak, and the candidates all gave their platform, and just Virginia McIntyre came out number one by thousands of points ahead of the other person, and the other person who lost said, nope, I'm going to force a primary. So you got to wonder what shenanigans are going on behind the scenes, within the Republican Party that's pushing all these primaries. But we can't let the shenanigans win, right? We have got to stand up and let the system work. And that primary on June 27th, see what's going on in your community. That's a very important vote that day too, because that's going to determine who's on the ballot come November. And that's also a good reason why you might want to, when you register to vote, instead of going blank, you might want to just pick a party, whether you agree or not with that party, but at least it gives you the opportunity now to have skin in the game, gives you an opportunity to go and vote, especially during these primaries. If you're a registered Republican or Democrat, if you're blank, then you can't vote in any of these primaries that we're talking about. But and again, primaries don't bring a lot of people out, so your vote is going to be huge on primary day. That one or two extra voters could make the big difference. So again, we got two good elections coming up here, where you as a citizen can actually have a voice. This isn't like the president of the United States, where there'll be millions of people voting. We're talking some local elections that are personal, upfront, and really affect your life. That school board primaries for our county our town races. This is all huge. It's about voter turnout. That's one of the things we're not good at, is getting our people to come out and vote. Everybody has of reasons, and they don't want to do it. They're lazy. They don't think their vote matters. They're not up on the issues. And it's almost a shame when you look at, how many veterans fought for our rights to vote, and then you look at voter turnout, and you're at 60%, 40% of you decide not to come out and vote. This is America, right? We earn those rights to come out, to have it. A lot of people don't even take advantage of it. So
I'm guilty.
You want to interrupt here for a minute?
Yeah, I'm.
You're guilty. Oh, okay.
I'm guilty of not being registered to a party, for not being registered to a party. But you are breaking up. You are cutting in and out here and there. But I am
Yes,
guilty.
it's great internet service.
I am guilty of not being registered to a party.
No, look, I totally look. I understand. Sometimes, right, like right now, I am so frustrated with the Republican Party. I would love to just be independent, but the problem is, if I go independent, then I can't have a voice, or I can't have a vote with like the primary that's coming up. So being on one of the big ticket lines at least gives you, as a citizen, the right to go vote, especially during these primaries right here. And really, the big election this year is our county ledge. Our county legislature. They're the ones that sit in county office building on Main Street there, and they run the county of Monroe, right? Adam Bello. We have Mark Cassini running against Adam Bello. Mark is a very upstanding, well-proven leader.
Talk about Mark for a minute.
Yeah, look at Mark. I love Mark. I worked for Mark. I was under him. He was my boss, and I tell you what, I never had a better boss that stood up for me, backed up my department, my guys. And if Mark told you this is it, then it was. That there was no, I told you one thing and then I didn't produce. And Mark is a proven leader. He's been around politics for years. He was on the county ledge for like 12 years. He's definitely got the experience, and he's going up against Adam Bello. And I got to tell you, as more Democrats are getting onto our county ledge, a lot of all their friends are on city council. Okay, so when we sit back and we look at city council and all the crazy things that they're doing, defunding the police, and they're making all these nonsense laws, and they're not doing stuff, and PAB, that stuff's all coming to county government, right? so yesterday, Sabrina Lamar, right, who's the president of the county ledge right now, right? She broke glass ceilings when she became the president. Proposed a law to her fellow legislators last night as a Democrat, okay, that for Monroe County future employees, we are not to ask them if they've ever been arrested before, right? We can't taint our perception of somebody by knowing what their criminal record is. Well, that's typical Democrat progressive feel good type of crap, And the city council did that like 2 or 3 years ago. Have you ever been arrested? Those boxes are all gone off the application now, because we want to make sure we hire those people. So now that she's a county legislator, she proposes this reason why you want to get out and vote, because as the county of Monroe, the county starts to go Democrat, you're going to start to see a lot of these progressive ideas and all this nonsense come out to the county level. Laws will get passed at the county level. Just crazy stuff, Last night at their meeting, they outlawed you can't vape in a county park, vaping outside. But this is what Democrats do. They make your life miserable, okay? I got no problem with the vaping. Look at, you're outside in a park, and somebody wants to vape. And who's going to enforce it, right? Like who's going to enforce it? Who's got the time to enforce it? How would you ever enforce that law? Somebody's out vaping in the middle of the park somewhere.
Hey, Chief, I came up with an idea. I think what we need is a PAB accountability board. Huh?
So look at this week.
Accountability board. An accountability board that looks over the PAB.
It's so crazy.
How would that throw them off?
But look at, as they take over the county will eventually somebody in the county of government will say, well, we need a PAB for the sheriff's office and these town departments, and I'm telling you, this stuff's all coming as they take over and win seats. This is what the future is going to look like. Anyway, so the big rollout this week of the PAB. Speaking of that, right? I try to stay on top of everybody's meetings. They now have billboards throughout the city, those in city neighborhoods. The PAB bought billboards with that $5 million. Do you think you've been wronged by the Rochester Police Department, but you're not sure? Call the PAB. We'll help you. There's actually billboards saying, the cops abused you. It's crazy. And what's so sad is, we still have a 12-year-old who got shot, gunned down, and murdered on November 20th. We still have the 14-year-old, the two youngest homicide victims from last year, who got gunned down on January 2nd. They don't care anything about that. They're unsolved. No, nobody's coming forward with tips on who did it. But man, we got money for billboards, to police the police. It's just crazy. I just think it's an overkill. You want to have some oversight of the police. Okay, we could have worked this out, but this is just totally gone crazy. It's so far left. $5 million. My God, that's 40 people employed, 50 people are employed to police the police. That's crazy.
It is. Hey, let me ask you this. So like the importance of getting out to vote for like the school board and stuff like that, because I look at it like this. They're teaching the critical race theory. They're teaching porn in the school.
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
And since when does that become education? That's not education. That's not teaching them math. It's not teaching them history. It's not teaching them, social studies. It's not teaching them science. It's guiding young children in a certain direction, which then that becomes important for people to get out and vet the people running for school board, to get the right people in there that's going to put a stop to all this nonsense.
Yeah, remember something else. People don't like politics, right? I don't like politics. I don't want to be a Republican, Democrat. When you're talking about your fire district, you're talking about your school board, there's no parties. There isn't a Democratic candidate and a Republican candidate.
There shouldn't be.
There are just candidates for the office. And there's no politics involved. You just got to know, do you support this person who thinks these books? And look, I've read some of these online that they have in there, and I'm like, oh my God, if that book was in there when I was 14 years old, you better bet your ass I'd be taking it out every week. I couldn't believe what these books contain. Yeah. That's what it's all about, right? Are you for or against that type of stuff? Are you for or against, some kids have to be suspended from school, right? Well, now we don't want to suspend anybody, right? No kid gets suspended. And it's just like, well, what's happening in the school is just like, it looks like the criminal justice system out in the public, We don't want to throw anybody out of school. We don't want to hurt them. And, we'd rather just let them come and continue to bully and pick on kids in the lunchroom and tell them to stop, and nothing happens. And
nothing happens with the bullies either. Nobody can touch the kids. Nobody can do anything. It's like, it's out of control. But I really believe, me personally, I believe schools are indoctrination camps. That's really what
they become it.
Once the federal government got involved, it's all done.
Yeah, the other thing that's changed a lot, I went to MCC, I went to Brockport, and my kids now, right? My two kids just got out of SUNY Brockport. They both went to MCC, and they would tell me how their professors were very slanted in their they were teaching their political beliefs in class. And I don't remember, when I went to college, no professor ever came in and talked about the politics of the president. We shouldn't vote for this president. I don't remember any of that happening when I went to college. We taught the class that we were in there for. But my kids come home all the time and say, "Oh, yeah, if you're a Trumpster, your paper's going to be a lot worse." It's just crazy that they're actually, teaching this from the lectern, inside the classroom. I don't remember
indoctrination
professors being like that. But no, you're right. It's become indoctrination, and colleges, these big PhD people are allowing it to happen. And I got to tell you, Charles, I am so proud of you and a lot of your colleagues from True Blue New York. When we went out to Brockport, we went out there and stood up to the president out there in the college, And when they brought in that cop killer, it's just stupid. It's just beyond stupid that she would do that. And but you know what though? We went out there and we didn't take it, right? We showed up with a lot of people, a lot of good-hearted people came out there. We had flags and you know what? We made life miserable for them to pull that off. But that's what we're faced up against, you know, is that type of stuff. None of that took place when I was in college.
No, there would have been a lot more people out there protesting what was going on.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. You know, the problem is people are afraid, right? People are afraid to go to say your own opinion because you're afraid you're gonna get canceled. You're afraid you're gonna get labeled. You know, everything's getting canceled, right? They changed the name today of a military base, you know, from a Confederate person to I don't know who they changed the name of the Army base to, but that's the type of stuff that's going on, man. We're rewriting history, and if you don't walk in step with the narrative, you are gone. And people are afraid. They're afraid to put the blue line flag out on their house. They're afraid to put a sign in front of their house, back the blue. You know, they're afraid you're gonna get egged. Someone's gonna steal your sign.
Well, we showed them differently. We showed them differently in 2020. We showed them. We showed them who the majority was. We showed them who the majority was in 2020.
Right. You guys came out in force, man. And look at there's power in force, you know. And I was so proud of what was going on, what you guys did for us as a policeman back then. And man, it made us feel good because we were just getting beat up. You know, every night the protesters were coming out and taking over the streets like they own the place. And of course they do, but. My God, have we ever done that as the True Blue New York, or any of us, you know, taking over the streets like that? Oh God, we all.
No, we took over the roads on the rides. We took over the roads on the rides. We took over the roads.
Yeah.
On the rides. But I'll tell you what, my opinion. This is my opinion. I think we silenced when they saw how many people, thousands and thousands of people out there. I think we kind of silenced them out a little bit. I think they were going, holy cow, what's going on here? There's like 9,000 at this event. There's 5,000-6,000 at that event, all around the different counties. I think they kind of put a little, you know, wait a minute, we're not the majority. We're not the majority. I'm thinking. But
what's unfortunate though is it didn't carry over to the elections, and that's where I'm get the vote out. Right? Yeah. We had so much momentum going. 2022, you had two former police chiefs running. We have no history of politics. We're clean. We don't owe anybody. We were good candidates. We got a great background, but we didn't have enough voters to carry us over the goal line. Now we're sitting here stuck with the same old crazy progressives. You saw the budget that they just passed down in Albany. It's freaking crazy, you know. And the only way you change is you got to get them out of there. But
so we got about 5 minutes left. But the urgency. What do you think is going to happen if people decide not to get out and vote? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen to the state?
Oh, look at crime's going to continue to go crazy, and you know, first of all, nothing is going to change this year. This summer is going to be just as crazy. This little law tweak she made to the bail that's nothing. That's absolutely is not going to do much of anything. We still can't arraign certain ones. We still got the parole. You know, the parole reform, that less is more, that's more lethal than the bail reform. Those parolees that get out early and now we won't watch what they're doing at nighttime. Those guys are deadly because those are the convicted felons, right? That's the varsity team right there. Yeah, look at this stuff is going to keep going, man. These carjackings and I don't know if you heard the news from tonight, you know, it's just like, you can't make this stuff up, right? This guy walks up to a elementary school playground, you know, and says, "Hey kids, you want to buy some marijuana?" And then he flashed a gun to these elementary kid age. It's just, you can't make this stuff up, you know, but there's no fear. There's no punishment. And the gall to be able to do that to a bunch of elementary school kids and imagine those poor kids, right? This is the environment they gotta, it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
I think, did you post, you might have even posted it, but that one where that vehicle went, it was a Monroe High School or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
Just flew right by, and then all the kids came out yelling at the person. It was like, I think it was an Kia or a Hyundai. It was one of them vehicles. Yeah.
So look at this lawlessness is it's just gonna get worse and worse. You know, I drove in the city, I don't know, a couple of days ago. I was down there about 4 p.m, it's the Wild West down there. The amount of ATVs and dirt bikes that surround you and it's crazy. It's all over the place, and you're just gonna get more and more of this until we get some law and order type of government. Right now, we have no law and order. There's no leadership, and it's all about hugs and thugs, hugs and thugs.
Yeah, hug the thugs. But yeah, Doug, you were actually talking about the Wild West. It's going to turn into the Wild. You're like saying this.
Oh, 3-4 years ago, we were saying that.
It's going to turn into the Wild West here, and it's actually coming to fruition. It's actually happening. But what what you post several times a day of all the crime that's going on in Monroe County. Like I see your post like several times a day. How can people reach out to you to find out more of what's going on?
Look I'm sitting here retired. I have no obligations. I am totally unleashed. I don't have to be politically correct. I don't have to watch what I say. I really don't care if you like what I think or not. I just don't care no more. I've done the job. I spent 37 years trying to make this a great place to live. And you know what? It didn't work. So I sit back and I'm going to use that platform as much as I can, social media, and just keep bringing, out in public things that are going on that absolutely are not right. And we would never have condoned, had I still been the police chief. So yeah, you know what? My inbox is on. You just send me an inbox message or something. But right now, I'm all about still fighting for the honest citizen. I have no power. I have no platform anymore, other than the thousands of followers I have. But I'm not going to just sit back and let them take this every day. I'm going to highlight it every day. I don't care. It's my freaking freedom right, my right to do this. And I try to be professional and not get crazy. But man, it's hard not to when you see the stuff that's going on every day. The car dealerships in Greece last night, stealing the Kias. It's every day. it's the Wild West out there, and nobody seems to care,
And it's not going to get any better unless they get the people in, the right people in, the assembly, the legislature, the school boards, to make real change. That's really the message, is to get people in, that people start paying attention. If they're concerned about their kids, they're concerned about their families, is to start paying attention to who's running, and getting the right people
in. And then just I know we're going to come just to end on something. Hope. There's hope out there, right? I got to tell you, since 2020, all of a sudden there is been a huge increase in interest, right? Citizens getting together and running for a school board. There are years we couldn't even find enough people to run for school board. Now, because of 2020 and Zoom and everybody seeing what's going on, the good news is we do have a lot more citizens and grassroots school efforts, trying out that are throwing their name in there, getting themselves elected. We're making progress, and so the hope is there. That we can change things. But again, it's a big commitment. Being on a school board is not a 3 hours a month. It is a lot of effort and time that goes into if you get elected to any of these boards. But people are reaching their boiling point. They are done. They are fed up. We're tired of our taxes. We're tired of everything costing us so much. You got to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs to have a lifestyle that you want to have. That's not the American way. That's not the way it used to be, and people are done. And a lot of it starts with these gosh darn taxes. On our school budget at Gates, right? There's a proposal on there to buy like 6 school buses, right? At almost $200,000 a school bus. And every day I drive by my high school, and the freaking traffic from parents dropping their kids off, right? I mean, why are we buying new school buses? The traffic from all the parents who drive their kids to school, who's on the school buses? Everyone, parents drive their kids to school. And make them ride a bus that's got 100,000 miles on it, will you? Instead of buying new buses every 3 years, make that thing last 12 years. I don't know. I see things that just drives me nuts.
I know. I got to tell you this real quick. Is that like here in Churchville, Chi-Li, there's you can live your house. The backyard can be Churchville, Chi-Li High School, and they still want them to take a bus.
Yeah.
The backyard, you can walk 1 minute to the school, 2 minutes to the school, but they still want you to take the bus. Crazy. It's crazy. Why? But the insanity is real. That's what I like to tell people. The insanity is real in this state. It's unbelievable. But all right, Chief. I think it's time to end it. But man, come back on again. Let's come back on again after the elections. What do you think?
I'd love to. And look, I love your audience. I love everybody that tunes in and tries to make a difference, support back the blue, and just back what's right and wrong. What did your mother teach you? That's my litmus test. What would my mother say? Is that right or wrong?
Exactly. All right,
Charles.
Chief. All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.